Hey everyone, good morning. It's time for another edition of Mantra Monday. So, sometimes in performing our duty, we come across obstacles. So that's what happened to me this morning. Again, I apologize for any inconvenience and any delay. It's always my desire to try and be as professional as possible. But with this newfangled technology, even if you think you have it right the night before and have everything set up perfectly, you don't. You have to test things. Test. So that's what happened today. But we still have time. Okay, so we're doing the universal form. And last week we did verses 1, 2, and 3. So the stage has been set where Arjuna, Prince Arjuna, has finally asked Krishna to reveal his mind-blowing cosmic universal form to establish Krishna's identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even though Arjuna is convinced himself, because of course they've had this conversation all the way up, till now. The previous chapter was Opulence of the Absolute. Arjuna is taking the role of every man, and he wants to demonstrate, he wants a demo for other people in the future, those people being us, to know what question to ask of someone who claims to be God. This is really, really important because there's all kinds of people running around claiming to be God, from politicians to spiritual imposters. And people are very gullible and very naive, and it's important to know what the criteria is. So that was the purpose of, that was the part of the purport in the last verse, with the caution that the people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be God or one who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show the universal form to confirm his claim to the people. So I'm going to read the Sanskrit, I'm going to read the word for word, then I'm going to read the translation, then I'm going to read the purport, and then we're going to break it down. Manyase yadi chakyaṁ mayā draṣṭum iti prabho yogeśvara tato tvam darśayātmānam avyayam. I'm going to sing it now. Manyase yadi chakyaṁ mayā draṣṭum iti prabho yogeśvara tato tvam darśayātmānam avyayam. One more time. Manyase yadi chakyaṁ mayā draṣṭum iti prabho yogeśvara tato tvam darśayātmānam avyayam. Translation. Manyase, you think. Yadi, if. Tat, that. Śakyam is able. Mayā, by me. Draṣṭum, to be seen. Iti, thus. Prabho, O Lord. Yoga-īśvara, O Lord of all mystic power. Tataḥ, them. Me, unto me. Tvam, you. Darśaya, show. ātmānam, yourself. Avyayam, eternal. Translation. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited, universal self. I'm going to repeat that. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited, universal self. Purport. It is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord, Krishna, by the material senses. But if one is engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark. Therefore, it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. Arjuna, as a devotee, does not depend on his speculative strength. Rather, he admits his limitation as a living entity and acknowledges Krishna's inestimable position, or inestimable position if you prefer. Arjuna could understand that for a living entity it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. The word yogeśvara is also very significant here, because the Lord has inconceivable power. If he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace, although he is unlimited. He does not, therefore, Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. He does not give Krishna orders. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself unless one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service. Thus, it is not possible for persons who depend on the strength of their mental speculations to see Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Satyarudas Goswami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Satyarup Divam Vani Vinitam Sarabhushnam Bhakti Grantaranayapinam Bhakti Vedanta Shikshitam. Okay. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhava Tu Me. So that means that last part I just said, Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhava Tu Me. It means, O Lord of the universe, reveal yourself to me. Please reveal yourself to me. So there's a lot to unpack here, and this is challenging for us because in the West, we are taught, we are inculcated to understand everything based on our senses, or maybe based on deductive reasoning. But ultimately, we are taught only that. We aren't taught anything about real intimacy, and we're not taught anything about real intimacy with spirit. And so that is a hurdle for us. That's a hurdle for us because there are some things that are not possible to understand simply with our external senses. So as if we have been reminded throughout this entire Bhagavad Gita that we are a soul that is inhabiting a material body, and our material body is imperfect. And what I mean by that is that what we are able to perceive is very, very small, and also we are subject to different frailties. For example, for most of us, if the lights go off in a room, we can't see. So this is a sensory limitation as a human being, for example. So there is another way in which we can perceive things, and that is through love. That is through the heart. That is through the attitude that we take with someone that we are trying to have a relationship with. And having a relationship with someone takes time. It takes time to have that person reveal themselves to you, that more intimate side of their personality. So you may see them, externally. Maybe they're your boss, or maybe they're a colleague at work, and you see them going to work every day, and when they go to work every day, they have to wear a certain kind of a dress, and they have certain duties to perform, and there's certain interactions they have. But if you were able to go home with that person and see how they live, and see what their home life is like, and see what their personal likes and dislikes and preferences are, you would get a whole different perspective on that person. You would understand things about them that you hadn't understood before. But to get that invitation to be able to go to their home, let's say, and be invited for dinner, there are certain benchmarks that have to be established there in the relationship for the other person to feel comfortable enough to trust you, to be able to get you, to trust you to invite them to their intimate space. So, and also, you wouldn't boss that person around. You wouldn't make a demand and say, invite me to your house for dinner. That's not going to fly. So Arjuna is such a great example because his carriage, his attitude, and his behavior are of a perfect student. Because now, remember, Arjuna has moved into this position of, not just being a friend of Krishna, which is already extraordinary, but friends are more or less on equal footing, right? He has taken the role of being a disciple, of being a student, in other words, of Krishna. So when you are in a student position, you are inquiring from your teacher, but the way that you inquire from your teacher is also extremely important and determines how much the teacher is willing to share with you, how much they are willing to give you, how much they are inclined to tutor you. All students are not the same. Some are very open, some are very willing, some are very eager, very cooperative, listen very well, and have a nice attitude. And other students aren't like that at all. So Krishna is a person. This is a personal relationship. And just like we respond to love, and we respond when people are being respectful to us, and when people are listening to us, Krishna, God, is absolutely the same. So here it says, Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself. So this is key. This is really, really important to understand. People will be like, well, I can't see God and so forth. But you have to understand that God is not obliged to reveal himself to you. Because, again, if you don't have the right attitude, if you're not approaching the Lord in the right way, if you're being demanding or being rude, why should he reveal himself to you? If you want to be my friend, or if I want to be your friend, right, or you say that you want to be my friend, if you approach me in an aggressive, disrespectful manner, there's going to be no question on your part or on my part that you're going to show me anything more about yourself, that you're going to show me anything intimate about yourself, your family, your children, all those things that you cherish, because you're thinking to yourself, this person's kind of a lunatic. I can't trust this person with these very intimate things. So, surrender means that one is actually willing to listen, one is willing to take instruction, and one is willing to perform some service, but one is willing to perform some loving service, not just by route, but that one is actually thinking, one is using one's mind and one's heart to render some service, not just doing things in a mechanical way, but doing things in a thoughtful, loving way. Because we're alive and circumstances can change, and so we have to be engaged. Then, so the sentence before that says, Therefore, Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna, right? Arjuna understands his position as a jiva is extremely small, right? And that the Lord and all his creation is vast, is enormous, and is beyond our comprehension. We're like a little speck in the middle of all of this. So that's why in the beginning he says, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. So it says, Arjuna could understand that for a living entity, it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. The word yogeśvara is also very significant here because the Lord has inconceivable power. If he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace, although he is unlimited. So this whole discussion or purport here really gets to the heart of the process of bhakti yoga and how it works. Meaning, when we involve ourselves in the process of purification by reading, by chanting, shravanam kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam, by remembering, our hearts are actually cleansed. Our hearts actually start to become cleansed of all the unwanted things, the anartas that are there, the anger, the lust, the greed, the envy, all those different things that cloud our vision in this world because we identify so deeply with objects and things going our way and all of that. It's so, so deep rooted. Once we start to cleanse those things and we begin to put more of our effort into our treasures on high or our treasures within our heart, then our vision becomes clear. We can see more clearly. We can see the differences between matter and spirit. We actually become more peaceful. We become more receptive. We can actually hear better. We can hear spirit better. And this is because, as was spoken of previously, the Lord says, I shine the torchlight, the lamp of knowledge from within their hearts so they can come to me. In other words, I illuminate that path. The Lord literally illuminates the path from within so we are able to approach him more and more and more. This is a deep relationship that is ongoing. So if you can't see your way, you're not going to be able to reach your destination. So this is the sublime, dynamic quality of bhakti yoga, is that it is not dependent on senses. It's not dependent on external things. It is dependent upon the knowledge that is revealed to us from within our hearts, that transcends material circumstances. Okay, now it says here, right, so again, every living entity is only a spiritual spark, therefore it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. So you may say, this is all, how shall I say, is relative the right term I want to use here? Well, you could say, well, how is that so, Kayani? Didn't you just spend the whole previous chapter, the opulence of the absolute, explaining how we can see God in nature? Yes, absolutely, it did. But this is talking about actually perceiving the Lord within your heart, which is another thing. This is more of an internal thing. This verse is about coming to the point where your eyes are anointed with a balm of love. I mentioned last week that, there are different things that we see in nature, like the aurora borealis, or the Milky Way, or we might be in the middle of the ocean, or fireworks, or even, the birth of a child. And when we see things like that, it starts to set our minds in motion, where we become like in awe, because we are standing in the face of the intricacy and the power of the creation, So that's just witnessing, like maybe one little thing. But Arjuna is about to get in whole enchilada. He is about to see all of this dynamic, creative ability of Krishna, along with the dynamics of the temporary nature, the destructive, the destruction side, the death side part of Krishna's abilities as well. Everything all in one place at one time. Imagine seeing the sun and the moon and the stars, and seeing yourself, and seeing all the seasons, and seeing all the way material nature is acting on everyone and everything, and then seeing everyone and everything that whom you've ever known and who you haven't known, and seeing the play of time, all of this live in one place. This is what Krishna is about to reveal, and more, to Arjuna. So this is only possible, by Krishna's grace, by being able to reveal this to him, in a way in which he can receive it. It's still going to be overwhelming. So let me see. But if one is engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. So there you have it, revelation. But not revelation. This isn't something abstract. This is something real. I think that this curtain is making it very hard to see me. Let me see if I can. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's like burning out there. So I guess that's all I have to really say about this. This is, it's mystical. Krishna is addressed here as yogeśvara. Yogeśvara means master, or controller. We used that last week. And of course, yoga means union. Here it's being used in the context of, mysticism. And what is mysticism? Mysticism really is about seeing things or revealing things which are normally unseen to our material senses. It is, I want to say that it's actually normal. I want to say that it's actually normal for us to be able to see things like this if we have gone through the process, if we have gone through the cleansing process. So many things that are deemed to be, miracles are actually our birthright. But it's something that many of us, or most of us, have to work towards, We have to go through the process in order to be able to understand that we can be that connected, that we are that connected. Because everything here can seem to be working against us, People that we love die, places that we enjoy shudder, the things that we used to be able to do in our younger years, we may no longer be able to do. So here, there is a kind of a darkness, a kind of a shutting down, a kind of an isolation that occurs unless we are tuned in, tapped in, and regularly trying to make progress to reconnect to our spiritual identity, the spiritual identity of others. Ultimately, that relationship that we have with the supreme person, with the supreme spiritual person. Okay. It is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord, Krishna, by the material senses. So again, it's not possible just to depend on the strength of our mental speculations to see and hear and talk to someone who is really so beyond our mundane understanding. I mean, we have to be willing to admit that we are conditioned souls. That's really, really important. We have to be willing to admit that we have limitations. Arjuna here is admitting that he has limitations, even though Arjuna is an incredible human being. He has bodily strength, he has incredible skill, he has incredible education, he's handsome, he's a prince, right? He has an amazing family. He has accomplished in so many ways. He is able to perform so many austerities. Heck, he even has Krishna as his friend. Krishna is driving his chariot. Still, Arjuna is taking that position, and he is realizing that he has limitations. And because he is able to admit to the fact that he has limitations and that he doesn't know everything and that he can't do everything on his own, and that is why he is a wonderful candidate to be able to see this cosmic form. So, if we are willing to be a little bit humble and to admit our limitations and our frailties, then we too can also make progress and make advancement, and to be able to see amazing things revealed to us by the grace of Krishna. Okay, so I'm going to end this video today. I have a giveaway that I'm going to be doing at the dance party that I'm going to be holding here on New Year's Eve, December 31st. So tune in for that. I will be rehearsing and testing out equipment, so hopefully that will go off without a hitch. And you have a great rest of your week, and thank you for being here.